Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Man, wow. Man, give it up again for Dr. Crutcher, the Crutcher family. I'm attorney Demario Solomon-Simmons, and standing here with my co-counsel, Karen Portlock. We are just honored to be still standing with this wonderful family. And as Tiffany stated, it's been 10 long, grueling years. We've been through a lot. And the prayers of this community and standing strong to get us to this point is amazing. And we all are feeling really good today. But I want to be very clear, this is not the end. This is not full victory or full justice. This is a correction. And this is what the court, the 10th Circuit, validated what we've been saying since the first day that we saw what happened to Terence. That he was shot as an unarmed individual that was complying, that was walking away from Betty Shelby. He did not have a weapon. She said, put his hands up. He put his hands up. He did everything he was supposed to do, and then he was shot and killed. And the court, if you get a chance to read this order, and I hope you all will get a chance, it's so clear and powerful. One thing they talk about is that he had no duty to comply to drop a weapon because he had no weapon. That ends the case right there. It should. And what I want this community to understand is that Terence was so much more than that video we saw. He was a father. He was a son. He was a brother, a twin brother. He was a man that was trying to better himself. He was literally coming from school, Tulsa Community College, when this happened. And so he was a victim twice. He was a victim of a shooting, and he was a victim of a smear campaign and a devious cover-up by this city. And unlike the criminal trial, the full story will come out if we get to federal court. Because unlike the criminal trial where they didn't hear from the experts from our side, they will hear from our experts, the jury will. And unlike the criminal trial, they will hear about Terence. They will hear from his family and what it meant for him to be a part of this family. And they will hear the full story of what happened when Terence was shot and allowed to lay on that ground for 2 minutes while the officers controlled the shooter and allowed Terence to bleed out. They would learn how the officers, the city, turned away eyewitnesses to the crime. They would learn all this information. The jury will hear this. And we believe with all our might and all our heart that if the jury sees what this court in the 10th Circuit sees, we will get the justice for this family. But I hope this city does not cause this family to continue to go through this fight. They have suffered enough. And while my co-counsel will talk more about what are we prepared to do at trial, I'm calling on this city to make sure that this family does not have to see another trial. They've been through enough. But do understand, if that trial comes, the city will not be able to control the narrative like they did 10 years ago. The evidence will. And the evidence will show that Terence was shot unlawfully, unconstitutionally, and they and Betty Jo Shelby are responsible. And we will do everything in our power to make sure the full story of Terence is known. You know, when I started on this case 10 years ago, little Terence was 4 years old. Now he's almost looking me in the eye. Takaya is a mother now. I mean, 10 years. 10 years. And we're still standing. This is also why we must get rid of qualified immunity. Yes. We would not be here if it was not for qualified immunity putting a shield around these officers when they violate the law and violate the Constitution. Qualified immunity must be repealed. It is not a part of the Constitution. It is not a part of the statutes. It is judge-made law in 1982 that has been used to protect officers like Betty Jo Shelby when they violently violate people's rights. So we want to be clear. This is a victory not just for this case. We hope this is a start of the conversation continuing to repeal qualified immunity, so families don't have to wait years and years and years to get to court on an issue like this. Know about the support we have, the legal support, the community support, and that God and our ancestors, we stand on their shoulders. You think about Terence being not just a victim of the police violence, but a descendant of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, a descendant of Black Creek Indians. All of that round into this family. We are pushing this entire fight and all centered, and really it popped off really in this community with the death of Terence. So as Tiffany said, he said God will get the glory of his life. And I think we're seeing that right now. So this is not the end. We're going to be calling upon you guys again. You know that. We're going to see what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks, and then Karen can speak more to that. But we know that the city, Officer Shelby has a couple of weeks to make a decision of how they want to react to this decision, if they're going to do an appeal or do some type of ask for a rehearing or something like that. And if that does not happen, it'll get kicked back down to the district court and we'll get a trial date. And as some people say, it'll be on. So with that, we will take just a few questions from the media. Yes, sir, Dion.
Back in 2024, an attorney for Betty Shelby was quoted in the newspaper, Public Radio Tulsa, saying that the Crutcher State could appeal, but they didn't think the appeal would be fruitful. What's your response to that now?
This is a response. I mean, read the opinion. Read the opinion. I'm glad you said 2024 because I would be remiss if I did not. And Tiffany did mention some of our other co-counsel like Ben Crump, like Attorney Darrell Parks, Attorney Melvin Hall, and others who've been on this, Attorney David Riggs, who've been on this journey with us over this time period. But I would just send them a copy of the order. I think it's very fruitful. I might even go plant it. Yes.
Being part of a bigger issue. What are your thoughts on the Monell element being dismissed in the face of the city? And do you think there is a systemic problem within the Tulsa Police Department?
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, great question. We were disappointed about the Monell, and we are actually considering our options on appeal on the Monell issue because we absolutely believe there was, and still is a systemic issue as it relates to policing, particularly of Black people, particularly in North Tulsa. And this is not our belief. This is the data that the city itself provides us each year with their impact report. What's it called? Equality indicators shows us each year that these things are systemic. So we are disappointed that the court kicked out the Monell claim, but it's something we're considering about asking for an appeal on that. Yeah, no one has contacted us about anything. Yes, sir.
Talking about qualified immunity, legally, can you explain what that is and how the court, I guess, determined that it showed these qualified immunity in this situation?
Sure. So I don't want to be too legally, but in general, the qualified immunities doctrine says that you have to prove that someone has had their constitutional rights violated, and basically this has happened before and they've been found accountable for that or guilty for that. And so that's what makes it so difficult. Sometimes they want you to find an exact case that has specific facts that's happened before, that then they can say, yeah, we found that was unconstitutional at the time, and it was a known right at the time. It was known to be unconstitutional at the time it happened. Well, I think that's ridiculous. Every case should live on its own merits. But for this case, it's even more ridiculous because it is a known right forever that you can't shoot a man with his hands up, unarmed, that's several feet away from you when you have 3 or 4 police officers with you. I mean, it's ridiculous. But great question. Yes, Barry.
Do you think that this ruling could set a precedent for other civil rights cases here in Tulsa and just around the United States?
We think this is a very, very powerful order, and it really lays it very clear what qualified immunity, if it's going to be utilized, how it should be utilized. So to answer your question, yes, this is one of the most powerful orders we've ever seen, and the judges were so clear about what happened here. So yes, we think this is not just a victory for the Crutcher family, but this is a victory for everyone that's dealing with policing here in Tulsa.